Okay, so today I'm going to be giving you guys recommendations based off of things that you have requested. I've done this video, I think, twice before, so they'll be linked up there and in the description if you want more personalized recommendations. But I posted on my Instagram asking you guys what are you looking for right now, and I'm gonna do my best to give you personalized recommendations for what you're looking for. But first, a shout out to today's sponsor, Squarespace. From websites to online stores to marketing tools to analytics, Squarespace is an all-in-one platform to help you to build your website and run your business. But we'll talk more about them at the end of the video. Okay, so the first one is a time traveling story. So for this, I have This Is How You Lose the Time War. Magical, abstract, strange, but really, really fun. Timeline, much more of a time travel romp. Really, really fun, but not too in-depth. And 11/22/63, which you probably know because it's a King book. But I really recommend, if you want a time travel story, to just watch Doctor Who. A hidden gem in fantasy. I think An Unkindness of Magicians counts for this because it's not as widely talked about on BookTube or widely known in the fantasy world, even though I talk about it quite a bit. It's such a unique take on urban fantasy, and it has such epic fights and deep characters. I really, really enjoy this one. A good, fast-paced novel that lasts long. For you, I have The Burning. Each of these books are around 500 pages, so they're good-sized books, but Evan Winter puts his foot on the gas pedal and doesn't let up for both of these books. A contemporary/literary fiction title with a main character with an anxiety/panic disorder. I have Finding Audrey as well as A Quiet Kind of Thunder. Both of these characters have a lot of anxiety, and I enjoyed reading both of these so much. A fun, lighthearted book where the humor does not depend on romance or come from the romance. For this, I picked Winnie the Pooh, which is a classic children's story. It's so lighthearted and sweet and heartwarming. And then I also picked Descender, which I've only read the first volume of so far. It's a comic series, and so far it's intense but also incredibly sweet and charming, and I really enjoyed that first volume. Are there any weird fantasy novels or series you know similar to The Dark Tower? I've never read The Dark Tower, but from what I know about it and from what I know about Discworld, I'm recommending Discworld. They're both absurd and strange, and that's the best I got for you. A short read that makes me feel happy, hopeful, or optimistic. The Boy, the Fox, the Mole, and the Horse, or whatever the order is for this book, is one of my new favorite books. It explores such complex emotions and feelings, but in a really simple yet heart-penetrating way. It made me feel so good reading it, and it's something that I want to reread really soon. Short and action-packed because I'm lacking in free time to read. For this, I have the Murderbot Diaries. They are all very short. They're all novellas. They're super funny and really gripping right from the start, and there's a lot of I guess action-packed. It's a novella. There's not a ton of action in these short little books, but the action is great, and I think you'll like it. Asian mythology or fantasy, for you I have The Poppy War, Jade City, and this new book that I actually haven't read yet but just got in the mail that looks really similar to Jade City, and I will be reading. A book that will make me cry. Have I introduced you to my friend Bachman? If you're new here, Frederick Bachman is my favorite author of all time. He writes literary fiction, and he tackles really difficult subjects in the most gut-punching, relatable, phenomenal way, and I cry in almost every single book I read of his. Maybe every single book I read of his. Something that's not fantasy, but really gripping and entertaining. I picked a couple of genres for you. I have Rebecca, which is a thriller, an absolutely remarkable thing, which is sci-fi. Skyward, which is also sci-fi. One's adult, one's young adult. And then There Were None, which I've lent out to my mom, so here's a screenshot of it, which is a mystery. And then I also just have this whole video about fast books that are really easy to get into and fly through, and I'll just recommend that video. Books with similar vibes to My Dark Vanessa. For you, I will recommend The Vanishing Half. It tackles completely different topics, but she also has a very gripping and readable and relatable writing style. It also has a story plotline that kind of jumps between timelines and between characters, and it's also just a very thought-provoking story. A pirate book that's not Disneyfied. So my natural answer is gonna be Red Seas Under Red Skies, but if you want something different from me, Of Sky and Sea is a recent self-pub book that I read that is super fast-paced and really, really fun, and it's a nautical fantasy. Modern-day urban fantasy like The Night House or An Unkindness of Magicians. For you, again, I'll recommend Jade City. This is the most recent urban fantasy I've read, and it was fantastic. I'm looking for a new series, like a more adult version of all the YA dystopian series. This is gonna be a little bit of a leap, but for you, I'm recommending Sufficiently Advanced Magic. I think it's a great transition from YA to adult, and it's really action-packed and fast. It's a fantasy, not a dystopian, but I think it has those same vibes, especially since it's a game. Well, sort of. It's a maze, and he has to solve a lot of puzzles. He has to lean on his friends. I think you'll like it a lot. This person wants something like Sherlock Holmes, and I'm recommending Dr. Strange and Mr. Norrell because these characters were based off of Sherlock and Watson. Would die for another book like The Night Circus or The Starless Sea. Okay, this was hard for me because those books aren't my style. So I'm recommending something that I think is a similar style that also didn't work for me but might work for you, and that's Strange the Dreamer. I think that it's of a similar feel, and if you've already read that one, then I'm just gonna re-recommend This Is How You Lose the Time War. A type of fantasy that transports me to a magical dream I don't want to wake up from. I'm gonna recommend the Wayward Children series because it's a portal fantasy, Narnia-esque, and we get to discover a bunch of different worlds, a new world per book, and it's just great. Get past that first book, I didn't like it, but other than that, it's a great series. Sassy robot like Murderbot or Skyward. For you, my friend, I don't have an answer, so what I'm going to offer you instead is a sassy, inanimate object. I think that Clef, I'm pretty sure his name was, the talking key, is right up there with Murderbot and Mbot. They have the same name. I'm curious about books written in second person. For you, I recommend The Fifth Season, one of the best books I've read, and her use of second person was so well done. You have to get to like the halfway point or maybe even a little bit further to see why she chose to do it this way, but I assure you, well, I can't assure you you'll love it, but I loved it. And now that you have your book recommendations, an ad. You know how you lay in bed at night wishing you had a better website?
No.
Like, you wish you had a powerful blogging tool where you could share your photos, videos, and stories, and like customize your posts and schedule them however you want to do it. Or social sharing so that people could just click one button and share it to their Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, Pinterest, like everything.
Listen, Squarespace has all that stuff, so stop waking me up and just get a Squarespace website.
So head over to squarespace.com for a free trial, and when you're ready to launch, use the link in my description to save 10% off of your first purchase of website or domain, and be sure to check out Squarespace. So those are all the recommendations I have. I will continue to do these videos sporadically, but be sure to chat with me more about any of these recommendations in the comments, or if you want more recommendations, I'm sure we can come together and help each other out. Be sure to check out my Patreon if you want to do some buddy reads with me or see some of my own writing. I post videos every Tuesday through Friday, and sometimes on Mondays. I'll see you guys again soon. Bye.